Anuja madam, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. I'm Dr. I hope you are Dr. Premalata, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, pleased to meet
Wonderful.
you.
Thank you, ma'am. Wish you the same.
Will you please open up your video?
Ma'am, I have opened up my audio and video.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Start பண்ணலாமா மேம்?
Sure, ma'am.
தமிழ்நாடு ஆசிரியர் கல்வியியல் பல்கலைக்கழகம் பள்ளி ஆசிரியர்களுக்கான திறன் மேம்பாட்டு பையம் அசிஸ்ட் உலக சாதனையுடன் இணைந்து நடத்தும் 5 மணி நேர நிகழ்வின் 5ஆம் நாள் நிகழ்வாக இன்று நம்மிடையே இணைந்திருக்கும் டாக்டர் MP அனுஜா, குற்றாலம் ஸ்ரீ பராசக்தி பெண்கள் கல்லூரியின் உதவி பேராசிரியர் அவர்களை வருக வருக என வரவேற்பதில் மகிழ்கிறேன். வெல்கம் மேடம். I wholeheartedly welcome you to this event. Welcome,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Good morning. I thank the organizers of the world record of longest international conference virtual for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts on personality development. I thank Dr. Anita, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Pasuman Muthuramalinga Thevar College, Melanithan Nellur, event organizer for giving me this opportunity. I wish to express my gratitude to Dr. Premalata, Assistant Professor, Joint Organizer of this virtual conference. My topic today is investing in yourself. In today's competitive market, it's important to continue to learn and grow in order to stand out from the crowd. Not only this, but by developing your personal development skills, you are more likely to feel a sense of fulfillment in your personal and professional life. As you grow and progress, here is everything you need to get you started on your journey. First, choose wisely. You're one of a kind. You are born to overcome every problem and difficulty in your life. You have the freedom to choose to do good or bad. Abraham Maslow puts it this way: let people realize clearly that every time they threaten someone, or humiliate or hurt unnecessarily, or dominate or reject another human being, they become forces for the creation of psychopathology, even if these be small forces. Let them recognize that every man who is kind, helpful, decent, psychologically democratic, affectionate, and warm is a psychotherapeutic force, even though a small one. So choose for yourself which direction you will take. A call for true leaders. We live in exciting times. Never before has so many opportunities beckoned mankind. We have achieved much, yet we have so much more to achieve. The ask rails for true leaders. I am reminded of a poem by Holland. God, give us men. A time like this demands strong minds, great hearts, true faith, and ready hands. Men whom the lust of office does not kill. Men whom the spoils of office cannot buy. Men who possess opinions and a will. Men who love honor. Men who cannot lie. Little nameless acts of kindness. Fill each day with little acts of goodness. No reason why you should do it, except that when you do, you will experience some of the best times of your life. Not only that, there is a real neat feeling. You simply feel it when you do a good act in secret. The famous words of William Wordsworth come to my mind. The best portion of a good man's life is little nameless, unremembered acts of kindness and of love. Nameless little acts of kindness and of love. Try it. It is a recipe for happiness. How to be really successful? What is success? Countless books have been written on it, but I really like what Desi Anderson Stanley has to say. He has achieved success who has lived well, laughed often, and loved much, who has enjoyed the trust of pure women, the respect of intelligent men, and the love of little children, who has filled his niche and accomplished his task, who has left the world better than he found it, whether an improved copy, a perfect poem, or a rescued soul, who has always looked for the best in others, given the best he had, whose life was an inspiration, whose memory a benediction. Real success goes beyond the measurable. Essentially, personal development skills are personal attributes, personality traits, inherent social cues, and communication abilities. Developing these skills involves the process of self improvement, which focuses on strengthening your knowledge, capabilities, and self awareness to reach your personal goals. How can you improve the self development skills? I am going to share my screen. Investing in yourself. How can I improve the self development skills? Face your fears, learn something new, find a mentor, reflect, be curious. Face your fears, confront your fears head on, and remember that all fears are learned, and with self discipline you can trust things around. For example, if you are shy, take the time to introduce yourself to new people. Pay attention to group dynamics and ask people follow up questions in conversation. Learn something new. Learning a new skill or educating yourself on a topic can improve your personal development skills, whether it is an online webinar, reading a book, signing up a course, or taking up a hobby. In doing so, your mind and perceptions will change, helping to build your skills. Find your mentor. If you need a little direction, don't be afraid to ask someone you trust to provide some helpful tips on building your self development. This could be your manager, a friend, a family member, or a recruiter, but it's important to be honest with yourself and be open to feedback. Reflect. The only way to build upon your personal skill is to become self aware, and one of the best ways to do this is to reflect at the end of each day. Make notes on observation, recent events, decisions, and on conversations to help you. Identify your strengths, limitations, and opportunities for progression. Be curious. Always ask questions and remember there is no such thing as a stupid question. Whether it is asking your manager how they got to where they are or asking a friend to expand on a topic or concept you don't understand, always strive to learn more. There are various types of personal development skills: showing initiative, self confidence, problem solving, communication ability. The first one is showing initiative. Avoid the reeking herd, shun the polluted flock, live like the stoic bird, the eagle of the rock, by Eleanor Weil. Take the lead. No matter who you are and what you do, You have some leadership qualities which you can develop. Be precise and be positive. People are quick to notice indecisiveness and mismanagement. Take control of your life. Don't simply let things happen to you. Rise above your circumstances. Face the problems in your life. Make a plan and follow it through. If you have choices to make, give it careful thought. Seek counsel if you feel you need it. Then go ahead and make the decision and stick to it. Cultivate the habit of reading, and also you lead to serve. Leadership also means service. Jesus Christ gave a radically beautiful illustration of leadership when he washed the feet of his disciples. Learn to serve. The man who played the most crucial role in helping India get independence, the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, understood this principle only too well. He didn't have to, but he took pains to identify with millions of his countrymen who lived in poverty. That is true relationship. If you are not striving, you are dying. Life is not always fair. There will be times when you may be handed a raw deal. It is natural to get upset and then try and adopt the philosophy behind the unfairness of life as a principle for living. When this happens, a person tends to view everything from a self centered viewpoint. But countless heroic souls have proved that the circumstances of life, no matter how trying, can be overcome. Keep striving, for you can overcome. Organize your life. Try and organize your life as much as possible. Keep a handy schedule and stick to it. Decide the night before what you plan to do the next day. Keep things where they should be. Why not stop right now and plan out a few things for the next few days, weeks, years? Take care of your health. Maintain your health. The pressures of life engage every moment of your waking time. It is so important that we stay in good health to battle the many challenges life throws our way. When was the last time you went for a jog or engaged in a workout? Keep fit. As someone has wisely observed, the human body, if properly maintained, taken care of, will last a lifetime. What is real growth? Are you growing? What a silly question, you might think. Of course, you are. But pause for a moment and think. I don't mean your physical age. Are you growing mentally? Learning new things? Thinking up new ideas? Dreaming new dreams? Are you growing in your place of work? In your marriage? In your family? Growing means the desire and ability to learn and accept new things. It's very much possible for a man to advance in age and not grow. Are you growing? What is real transformation? Do you feel the urge to reach out and do something good for other people? To make this world a better place to live in? Well, guess what? You can. Yes, you can make a difference. There is tremendous potential in goodness and kindness. Its consequences can be felt generations later. But first, take a good God look at yourself. Real transformation should be both within and without. Aknath Ishwaran, in the book Gandhi, the man writes, it was one of the most radical discoveries Gandhi was to make in a lifetime of experimentation. In order to transform others, you have first to transform yourself. Be receptive to new ideas. It doesn't matter whom it comes from. Our first human impulse is that we tend to view critically any idea that is not our own. But great men and women have always been open to new ideas and thoughts. Be responsive to the initiative of others. Each of us is unique. Given a task, we tend to approach it in different ways. Everybody doesn't have to be like me, and they surely don't have to do things the way I do it. They may do it better. Be responsive to new ideas, even if they aren't your own. Keep long term and goals in sight. Let your short term goals tie in with your long term goals. The trick is to break your long term goals into several short term goals and then go for them. Many people make the mistake of making long term goals with no connection to their short term objectives. And then they wonder why they didn't achieve them when none of their short term goals tied in. Say, for instance, you have a long term goal of buying a house. You have got to make short term goals like monthly savings, information from real estate agents, housing loan companies, taking freelance work to earn extra money, etc. Don't expect people to be like you. Realize that everyone is unique just like you. The sooner you stop expecting people to be like you, the better it would be. Everybody reacts differently to different situations. That doesn't mean everyone who approaches a topic differently is wrong. The simple point to remember is this: every person has a right to have his or her opinion, even if it is wrong. Learn to accept and respect that. And the next time you have to deal with someone who doesn't agree with you, learn to disagree without being disagreeable. And also, don't waste your potential. Take a good, proper look at yourself. Are you using your gifts and abilities to the fullest? What can you do to better exploit them? Remember, one of these days is none of these days. Do it today. William James put it this way: compared to what we are to be, we are only half awake. Our fires are dampened, our dams are checked. We are making use of only a small part of our mental and physical resources. Don't waste your potentials. And finish what you begin. Get into the habit of seeking a task to completion. It is easy to start on new idea or new project enthusiastically. Halfway through, the initial excitement dims and slowly peters out, and that it becomes a real struggle to carry on. It's here at this point that you persevere. An ambitious young employee asked Henry Ford, "How can I be successful?" Ford replied, "When you start a thing, finish it." Also, it is better to finish one thing than to begin working on many. And the second type of personal development skill is self confidence. As soon as you can say what you think and not what some other person has thought for you, you're on the way to being a remarkable man. Let us say an interesting video on self confidence now.
somewhere deep inside, you know what kind of person you were designed to be. If you want to produce great acorns, think like an oak, not like an acorn. Think like the person you intend to become. Like the Christian question, what would Jesus do? Ask yourself, how would the person I'd like to be do the things I'm about to do? The acorn has three parts. It's got a stem, a cap, and a seed. And the stem represents its connection to the past. All the acorns, all the oaks that have ever existed in its line before are encoded in that transfer through that stem, the legacy into this acorn. The cap holds onto the seed until the seed's ready to grow on its own. So the cap represents your coaches, your mentors, your role models, your guides, your parents, your friends, your teachers. And when you're ready to grow on your own, the seed of that acorn holds not only your potential, but the potential of every future generation of acorns that will spring from that line. So let me ask a question. What kind of seed is in you? See, I believe part of our responsibility in life is to find out who we are, to discover ourselves. First off, we need to respect our nature. We need to realize we are part of a continuing chain that carries a legacy and a responsibility. And if that's the case, then we need to recognize that we were not biological coincidences. I believe there's a creator, and I believe you were intentionally created for a myriad of purposes. There are many things we can do with our lives. And I think it's our job to find out what those things are and to do them as well as we possibly can so that we're passing along the right imprint for the next generation. And that's just simply my life philosophy. That's the way I look at it. So first, we need to respect our nature. Second, we need to know our nature. Take Aristotle's advice, know thyself, but know things about yourself that most people don't discover. For example, know how you're smart, not just how smart you are in comparison to others. In what ways are you smart? Know what you care about. What are the values that motivate your choices? Know what your personal velocity is, the intensity and drive with which you naturally operate. Know the background imprint, positive, neutral, or negative, that you carry with you and what effect it's had on you. Know your behavioral style, how you come across to other people. Know the patterns in your choices so that you're continually learning more and more about what it's like to be you so you can do an even better job of it. And then we need to apply our nature. We need to nurture our nature by expressing ourselves in the world. See, I never expected to be anything but ordinary. I was raised to be nice and ordinary. I expected I would grow up to be, like Dad worked for the phone company. I figured I'd go to work for the phone company, maybe work in an office. I figured I'd work till 65. I'd have 1.34 kids. I'd retire at 65, and then I'd die at the statistical average age for my gene pool. That's what I expected. Until one day in 1972, on the radio in the next room to mine, I heard a voice that changed everything. I was working for the Little Rock Housing Authority, Little Rock, Arkansas, Urban Renewal Agency. I was a government clerk making $525 a month. I weighed 200 pounds. This is 148. I smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day. I had never set a goal in my life. I didn't have a college degree and no money in the bank. I was newly married with a new baby at home, and I didn't expect much from life. And in the next room, I heard the voice of Earl Nightingale, known at the time as the Dean of Personal Motivation. He was on 900 radio stations around the world, and what he said that day will forever resonate with me. He said, if you will spend 1 extra hour each day studying your chosen field, you'll be a national expert in that field in 5 years or less. That hit me like a tornado. It rearranged everything in my life. I started doing the math. An hour extra a day, so let's say 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year, that's 1,250 hours over 5 years. If I spent, me, just ordinary me, 1,250 hours studying one subject, wow, yeah, I could actually be a national expert. What do I want to be an expert at? Well, it's not urban renewal. And then it occurred to me a few weeks later, I want to do what the guy on the radio is doing. But I had no idea what that was. I just knew it felt right to get into the field of human development. And I thought, well, let's see, an hour a day. I'm a government clerk. I've got 8 hours a day. I could do this by Thursday. And then I started thinking about what he had said, and I took him seriously, an hour a day. I focused, well, I thought I was kind of behind the game, so I needed 2 hours and 3 and 4 and 5. So I overcompensated, and I became fanatical about the field of human development. And in that 5-year period, I went from being a government clerk with very little aspiration to being a full-time speaker and trainer. In 2 years, that was 1972. In 1974, I started buying Earl Nightingale's training materials and selling them to businesses. By 1984, his company was selling my training materials worldwide. They sold $3.5 million worth of one of my first audio albums in the first 2 years it was out. I was blown away. His formula works, and I've seen it work for hundreds and even thousands of people in the many, many years since that time that I've been sharing that message. Think about that. If you were to focus you here, TED audience, if you were to focus a half an hour a day, extra, just beyond the TED Talk that you always watch, right? Every day. Okay, beyond that, if you were to focus half an hour of study on one field of endeavor for 5 consecutive years, you'd not only transform you'd transform the world around you. And we collectively would transform the world as we know.
So, you're important. You can plan your life. Do you sometimes feel worthless and of no use? In a world filled with so many achievers, you feel you have nothing to offer or that people don't want what you do have to offer. Reach within yourself and look for that uniqueness with which God has created you. Find out your gift and work at it. You do have something to offer. Let me pause on to a piece of advice from Chapin. It made my day. It just might make yours. Here it is. Not armies, not nations have advanced the race, but here and there, in the course of ages, an individual has stood up and cast his shadow over the world. Don't neglect yourself. But even as you reach out to others, don't neglect yourselves. Enric Fohm puts it this way in The Art of Love. The idea expressed in the biblical love thy neighbor as thyself implies that respect for one's integrity and uniqueness, love for and understanding for oneself cannot be separated from respect and love and understanding for another individual. The love of my own self is inseparably connected with the love for any other being. Pope has another way of saying it. If you don't matter to you, it's hard to matter to others. Overcome your fears. Almost everyone has fears. Most people mask their fears quite well. How does one handle or react to fear? The answer is simple: with courage. Courage, as someone has said, is action in spite of fear. Roosevelt put it this way: you gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. Face your peers and compete with yourself. Many people make a fatal mistake when they start comparing themselves with others. No two persons on earth are identical. Hence, any comparison between any two people is an exercise in futility, and John Ernest puts it, a fast track to misery. It also breeds envy. Try and improve yourself and what you do by comparing with what you have already accomplished. Try and better it all the time. Compete with yourself. Have a proper estimate, self estimate. How do you rate yourself? Of course, everyone has got their own strengths and weaknesses. No one is perfect. But it is important to focus on the positive, to pass the right judgment on ourselves. Nathaniel Brandon writes, there is no value judgment more important to man, no factor more decisive in his psychological development and motivation than the estimate he passes on to himself. Give life your best. Stop for a few moments and take a spontaneous inventory of your life. Are the days filled with action, interesting things to do, or is life a drudgery for you? Do you make a half hearted attempt at anything you do, whether it is getting up from the bed or handling work at your place of employment? Don't stay satisfied by giving life your second best. No matter what your situation, do your best. And while on the topic of doing your best, listen to what Helen Keller has to say. One can never consent to creep when one feels an impulse to sow. Visualizing is very, very important. It is so important to visualize your goals and dreams. If you dream of being a writer, for instance, you have got to see yourself having written and published a book. Stephen, in his best selling book, The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, puts it effectively. One of the main things his research showed was almost all of the world class athletes and other peak performers are visualizers. They see it, they feel it, they experience it before they actually do it. They begin with the end in mind. Work at it. Almost everyone I know has some goal or dream they want to achieve in life. But simply wanting is no good. You have got to work at it. Whatever your dream may be, break it down into achievable steps. Next, fix a deadline against each step. Now go for it. Be flexible, though, if you don't make it the first time, give it another try. Life is too short. Don't waste your days in dreams alone. Balance it with work. Make a commitment. Dreaming, visualizing, working at it, very good. But unless you make a commitment to the task, you will find a hard time finishing it. More important things will encroach on your task, and very soon it will be pushed back. Make a commitment to your dream. Take steps to turn it into reality. Commit yourself to each step and each deadline. Begin the task. The moment you do, you have set in motion a chain of events to turn your dream into reality. Make decisions. Everybody has a common responsibility when it comes to making decisions. You cannot escape it. Indecision will only worsen the situation and unnecessarily load you with worry and misery. Of course, there are some decisions which will take a longer time, but as far as possible, avoid indecision. Gather the facts, get as much information as possible, seek available alternative, decide on the best alternative, and that is it. You made your decision. Battling our thought life. Learn to live with yourself. There will be times when you will be shocked. How could I do this or say this? But everyone slips and falls now and then. This is no excuse for deliberate mistakes. But don't start condemning yourself every time you make a mistake or an evil idea pops up in your mind. It will surprise you to know that most people have thoughts which would shock us if they were to be projected on a screen. If you start feeling guilty about these feelings and thoughts, you will end up living from guilt to guilt. On the other hand, it's dangerous to allow such thoughts to continually reside in your mind. Start focusing on the good things of life, read good books, and pray. Like we said before, it works. Effect plus patient is equal to achievements. Are you burdened with the load of self pity? You feel for everyone else has such great opportunities, but your life is filled with problems and setbacks. Achievements are hard to come by. Well, you have got to stop fantasizing and expecting things to happen to you. You have got to make the effort and continue making it. I don't know of any great thing that was achieved overnight, nor do I know of any achiever who accomplished any great thing in a very short time. But I do know of dozens of examples of people toiling hard and turning their lives around. You too can do it. Find your gift. Do not go around marching with the crowd in an endless procession to mediocrity. Stop, reflect. You are a child of the living God who created you with very special talents and abilities. You are unique. There is not another person like you in the whole world. So stop going with the flow. Find out what your gift is. Specialize in it. I heard a speaker say once, find out what you are good at. Keep doing it, and in 50 years, you will be a legend. Finally, practice, practice, practice. Greatness or extreme skill at anything cannot be gained overnight. One has to work at it. Practice does make perfect. Keep practicing what you are good at. A lady came up to Beethoven and after one of the concerts and said, "Oh, sir, if God had only given me that gift of genius." And Beethoven quietly replied, "It is not genius, madam, nor magic. All you have to do is practice on your piano 8 hours a day for 40 years, and you will be as good as I am." And the third type of personality skill is problem solving. I share my screen now. Problem solving. There are two things that have to happen before an idea catches on. One is that the idea should be good. The other is that it should fit in with the temper of the age. If it does not, even a good idea may be well passed by. To win, fight one battle at a time. Have you ever handled a situation where problems assailed you from all sides? It not only rained, it poured. I'm sure you can think of some phases in your life when you seem to be surrounded by problems. I can think of few in my own life. What does one do then? How do we overcome these multiple problems? The fact is, you cannot face several problems at the same time. Make a priority list of problems and face them one by one. Remember, the key to winning the war is to win one battle at a time. Take as much as you can bear. Remember, you're human. Don't end up being committed to too many things. It will only make you frustrated. There are many things in life you may want to do, but you must realize that you can only go for a few achievable things at a time. Remember the story of the father and the son who are taking a donkey to the market. In their bid to please people, they ended up losing the donkey. To try to please everyone is to please no one. Try doing a lot of things at the same time, and you will end up accomplishing nothing. Learn to say no. Learn to take only what you can bear. Let go. Each day brings a host of problems and opportunities. We should face every day with our optimum strength and ability. This becomes difficult when we insist on holding on to things which very dearly have gone beyond our control. Let go. Release yourself from imaginary chains. Life is too short for us to hold on to things that do not make sense anymore. In their book, Turn Your Life Around, author Stanley Nash and Manfred say that you must become like the chess master who knows when to jettison his grand strategy, or like the circus man artist who knows when to release her hands. If you fall down, don't stay there. How to face failures. Are you feeling down and out? Have you failed in something you tried and you see your world crumbling all around you? Look up, for it is not the end. It will be harder to find a better failure than Abraham Lincoln. He lost 8 elections and failed in business twice, but he persisted. Listen to what he said after losing a race for the Senate. The path was worn and slippery. My foot slipped from under me, knocking the other out of the way. But I recovered and said to myself, it is a slip and not a fall. If you fall down, please don't stay there. Do you feel like you have made a mistake from which there is no getting up? You feel down, dejected, and a total failure? Mistakes will happen. Life is not always fair. Bad things do happen to us even if we are not to blame. But mopping around will only hurt you more. Mary Pickford explains this beautifully. If you had made mistakes, there is always another chance for you. You may have a fresh start any moment you choose. For this thing we call failure is not the falling down, but the staying down. And you have to forgive yourself. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody is perfect. But if you let failures get you down, it will be difficult for you to focus on the responsibilities and duties you have to attend at present. If it is something that can be put right, go ahead and do what is necessary. If it is something that cannot be undone, forget it. Start afresh. Don't think in terms of if only. That is a sure way to defeatist feelings. Think in terms of what you should do now. Make a difference. Avoid having a judgmental attitude. Try replacing it with concern. It is easy to see what is wrong and talk about it. It is tougher to feel concerned and do something to set it right. At the end of life, you will not regret being non judgmental. You will feel bad about all the times you have the opportunity to do something and make a difference, but didn't. develop a compassionate spirit, and then do something. Help others to be happy. There will be times in your life when you will have to face the choice of furthering your interest at the expense of someone else. It requires a lot of discipline to hold fast to your ideals in these type of situations. It is important to realize that you don't need to put out another man's light in order to let your own shine. A man I know says he is at his happiest when he helps others reach their best. I have tried it in my life and it really works. Adapt this principle in your life and check it out for yourself. Be genuine. The moment you feel you have to live up to a certain standard set by the other people, you will be putting unnecessary pressure upon yourself. Avoid trying to follow the crowd. You must not feel that you have to be Mr. Cool or Miss Perfect. What is that really makes you? If there are certain things you don't like about yourself, work on them. Consciously and constantly try to improve yourself without having to copy others. Just be real. Know when to keep quiet. It is important to know when to speak up and when to, pardon me for being so blunt, shut up. Always think for at least a few seconds before you speak. Albert Einstein was once being interviewed. The interviewer asked him how one can be successful in life, and Einstein replied, if A is success in life, I should say the formula is A equals X plus Y plus Z. X being work and Y being play. And what is result? Asked the interviewer. Then he replied, is keeping your mouth shut. Now I am going to share my screen. Read not to contradict and conflict, to believe and take for granted, not to find talk and discourse, but to weigh and consider. Form relationships with care. Your friends have the power to influence you for either good or bad in many ways. They can either make you or break you. What kind of friends do you have? If your friends constantly criticize you and have only bad things to say about you, if they are friendly with you because you are of use to them, then it is not at all a good relationship. Get away from them. There are a lot of good people around. Mix with folks who encourage you in good things, with whom you are at ease and feel at your best. Communicate with your love. You have to communicate your love. How much do you love your loved ones? What a silly question. You may think, but pause for a moment and ponder on the question. When was the last time you displayed or did something to show your love? Yes, you may not always feel like it, but love is more than just a feeling. It is an act, the act of reaching out. Communicate your love. Draw a list of people who are precious to you. Now take some action steps over the next few days to let them know that you love them. Practice networking. Practice the golden rule. It works. Yes, there are times when exceptions occur, but even today, a gentle answer does turn away wrath. Kindness does beget kindness. A smile brings forth a smile, and goodness does have a ripple effect. Only the Norman culture has changed. We now call it networking. Networking doesn't have to be negative. All it involves is for you to go out there and get to know people, help them when you can, and it comes back. Do new things. Don't closet yourself with a few people you know or the daily routine of your life. Break the monotony by meeting new people and do new things. I saw an advertisement of Boeing company which simply said, "It is a big world. Learn all you can. Help make it better." That explains it all pretty well, doesn't it? And finally, learn to observe. Remember the famous story of Birbal proving to Emperor Akbar how most people were blind because they kept asking him what he was doing when they could see for themselves that he was mending a cart. Film director Griffith advised film actress Lillian on the topic thus: "No matter where you are, watch people. Too many of us walk through life with blinders on our eyes. We see only what concerns us instead of what goes around on us. I am trying to make you see." And the final type of personality skill is adaptability. The greatest discovery of my generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind. Dwell, dwell on the negative. Everybody has problems, but if a person constantly focuses on the problem in his life without taking active steps to overcome them, he is in trouble. Learn to think through and get the right perspective. Don't be confined to a keyhole view of the situation. Get the whole picture. But some people love to dwell on the negative. In a cartoon strip, I saw the psychiatrist told a lady to think positively and not use words like can't or not. Then he asked her, "Can you do that?" The lady responded, "I can't see. Why not?" Adapt yourself. Two kinds of situation come up in life. One where you can with effort, courage and determination make a change. Two where no amount of struggle from your side will affect a change. When a momentous situation comes up in your life, rise above it. Face the situation, however difficult it may be. But if it is something you cannot change, then adapt yourself. Life provides numerous occasions to test your potential, for you to strive in order to turn a tragedy into triumph. Don't step. Continue to give off your best to every situation, however difficult or challenge it may be. Develop the spirit of endurance. Do you sometimes feel terribly discouraged when you look around and see the events that are taking place all around you? I may admit sometimes things do look distressing, but listen to what William Faulkner has to say. "I decline to accept the end of man. I believe that man will not merely endure, he will prevail. He is immortal not because he alone among creatures has a voice, but because he has a soul, a spirit capable of compassion and sacrifice and endurance. So develop a spirit of patience and endurance. Live the life fullest. Take up a hobby. But where is the time? You will never find time with that kind of an attitude. But you can make time. Squeeze in a couple of hours every weekend and devote that time to your hobby. It doesn't matter what it may be, whether gardening or painting. Another thing you could do is travel. It changes a lot of ideas we have about things. Try it out and you will see what I mean. Acquire real power. The desire for more power is responsible for the destruction of so many individuals. There can never be enough once one gets into the trap of wanting just a little bit more. But real power belongs to the people who do not exercise it. Sounds paradoxical. Let me explain. I saw an example of this kind of power in the lives of missionaries Mark and Mother Teresa of Calcutta. Another great example is Jesus Christ. He led no army, ruled no kingdom, but based his teachings on love. Today, 2000 years after his death, one third of the world goes by his name, and if needed, millions would be ready to die for him. That is real power. Dress smart and feel smart. The bottom line is that you should be clean. You don't have to wear a Van Halen to appear at your best. A clean set of clothes and polished shoes add to it. Ask any job interviewer. They will tell you that the dress and the poise are the first impression creators in their minds. If you go for a job interview dressed shabbily, you can almost always be sure that you have lost it even before you started. It is fact that when you neglect your appearance, you will tend to feel tired and negative. The good, the bad, the ugly. Life is amazing mixture of joy and sadness, good news and bad news, exciting opportunities and stunning setbacks. The sooner we accept this fact, the better we will be able to cope with life. Life is too short to be wasted in self pity, depression, and resentment. When opportunities come your way, make the most of it. When you face setbacks, control your damages, learn from them, and move on. For setbacks cannot subdue a man who refuses to submit them. I'm going to share my screen.
Anuja madam.
Yes. Each of us have so much to learn, our own field of work to do, and our sphere of influence in which we encourage others to do their best or worst. Richard Byrne explains it this way: learning is finding out what you already know, doing is demonstrating that you know it. Teaching is reminding others that they know it just as well as you. You are all learners, doers, teachers. Thank you for the patient listening.
Thank you so much, madam.
Thank you.
We, the team of Tamil Nadu Teachers Education University, happily thank you for your presentation, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
இப்படி ஒரு வாய்ப்பை ஏற்படுத்தி கொடுத்த அனிதா அருள் மேடம் அவர்களுக்கு எங்கள் குழுவின் சார்பாக நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறோம். நன்றி. Anita madam, thank you. Please convey our thanks to Anita madam, ma'am.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much. மேடம் அங்க ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டீங்களா?